So I was a weirdo homeschooler. I went home, I read an obituary. Thank you, I have a GED, thank you. Thank you. That's why I appreciate you guys clapping, because I get on the stage. It's like the graduation I never had. Thank you. I like telling people about my GED because it's fun, because they get really uncomfortable. Because they're like, oh, where'd you go to high school? I'm like, I didn't, I have a GED. And then they're like, oh. Okay, well, good for you. And then usually the conversation's over because they think I don't know any more words. And I do, all right? I'm not an idiot. I have a really weird educational backstory. I was homeschooled multiple times. I meet parents now and they'll be like, oh, I'm thinking about homeschooling my kids. What do you think? And I'm like, I think it should be illegal. Because homeschooling is kind of like it's like an experiment on your own offspring. Where the hypothesis is, hey, you know how there's a period of time that's crucial for social development? What if we just isolated him? Yeah, has anybody done that before? So they kept me indoors for a few years. And then something weird happened. When I was in 3rd grade, my family moved across the country, middle of the school year, decided they were too busy to homeschool me. So they just threw me in a regular school, with no briefing on how society works. They were just like, phase 2 of the experiment! Now we'll expose him to other humans! And then my first week, I'm all nervous, I'm just trying to blend in. The teacher's like, hey kids, don't forget, Friday's current events. And I'm like, what's that? And she's like, oh, you go home, you read a newspaper article, and then you summarize it for the class. So I was a weirdo homeschooler. I went home, I read an obituary. And I summarized it for the class. It might be the most disrespectful thing that can happen to a dead person. Because an obituary already is a summary. So I was summarizing the summary of this guy's entire life. And I did not do him any justice. Pretty much got up there and I was like, Melvin Jones was a plumber. He fixed a lot of showers, he's dead. And then the teacher pulled me aside in private so as not to embarrass me and was like, hey, just so you know, we don't really do obituaries here. Next time write about something nice, like the space program. And I was like, all right, that makes sense. But because that was in private, she didn't realize that I had inspired another student. Just a genuinely disturbed 3rd grader. Who I guess had seen my presentation and light bulbs went off. And he's like, whoa, who's this new kid? I didn't know he could write about dead... Do you guys know he could write about dead people? This changes everything. And the next week, he's so excited to get up. He asked to go first, which nobody ever did. And he's just like, a babysitter killed a baby? And the teacher's like, okay, you're done. Who's next? Somebody's next. And we're all sitting there, 3rd graders, just like, hey, teacher, can you let him finish? We want to know whose babysitter that was. Because we're 3rd graders. We all have babysitters. So far, that's been the most relevant current events to our situation. So screw the space program. Somebody better tell us who that murdering babysitter is. Like, my parents are going out to dinner tonight. I would really like to know if I should behave myself or not.